because she would see me and she just couldn't understand, why don't you leave? Why can't you be, you know? And she only knew what we say in Spanish, por arribita, the very tippy top. It was a really tumultuous, toxic marriage. My ex-husband and I were in a really bad place. And so he was like, you ain't going nowhere. Like, there was red flags from day one. You keep thinking to yourself, they're going to change.
Right.
After time, when people tell you, or someone that you love constantly tells you, you're not good enough. I could have women that look 10 million times better than you, and you need to go to the gym. You start to believe it yourself.
What we do.
Girl, you's a boss, mom. Baby girl, you so perfect. Girl, you's a boss, mom. Making everything worth it. Girl, you's a boss, mom. Stand on all of your business, and when it come to investments, and baby girl, you the realest. Girl, you's a boss, mom.
Never
Baby girl,
up.
you so perfect. Girl, you's a boss,
We had
mom.
this bag
Making
all
everything
day.
worth it. Girl, you's a boss, mom. Stand on all of
see
your
you,
business,
Mar.
and when it come to investments, and baby girl, you the realest.
Hey, boss moms. Tammy Capri here, the mompreneur mentor. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Mom Huddle. This is a community for all moms to come share their stories, whether they are building a business, whether they're in school, long as they're handling their business with their kids, this is a community for you. Today, I have a very special guest. Please help me welcome Miss Tatiana Sanders, and she is the catering manager for Cubanos ATL. Hey, Tatiana.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. So we're going to get right into this interview.
Okay.
We're going to jump right into it. First, tell our audience just a little bit about you.
So I am a 38-year-old single mama. I have a 6-year-old little girl, Kaia. She's about to be 7.
Aw.
Sometimes I say about to be 25.
Look, don't I know it?
Lord help me.
Don't I know it? I'm going to pray for you.
We've been here in Georgia almost 2 years now.
Okay.
We moved from Miami, just her and I, by ourselves.
Okay.
We don't have any family. We have friends who have become family. We've been really blessed in that sense.
Nice,
But
nice.
just to start a new chapter, I felt like in Miami, there wasn't any room for me to grow anymore. And I'd always loved Georgia. So took a leap of faith, and God has been so good to me the whole
Now
time.
you're here.
And now I'm
How
here.
you like it here so far?
I love it.
Is
I
it
love
big,
it.
Is it a big change from Miami?
It is. It's a big change because I'm more North Georgia.
Okay.
So it's a lot more laid back, and
Okay.
you know what I mean? But I love that. That's one of the things I was kind of over, that city crazy.
That fast pace,
nonstop
the
life.
draining,
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
party.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
with you.
Yep.
I am with you.
Yeah.
So 2 years here in Georgia. So how did you come to being the catering manager for Cubanos ATL?
Funny story, back in 2021, I've always loved Georgia, like I said. 2021, I came up, just randomly visited, and I met with Ozzy, who is the owner of
Okay.
Cubanos ATL.
Okay.
And of course, we bonded being Cuban, and he was from Miami originally, and I told him, I said, I would love to come up here, and he said, listen, I'll offer you a job right now. And yeah, I said,
Hello.
okay. So I came back at the time, I was already divorced, and so in the state of Florida, if you and your ex come to an agreement and you get it signed by the judge, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, my ex-husband and I were in a really bad place. And so he was like, you ain't going nowhere.
Ooh, okay.
So I said, well, I'll take you to court.
Okay.
And that's exactly what happened. And so it was about a 1.5-year process just because of COVID and everything. Was a long wait.
Yeah.
And of course, many times I felt like giving up just because everyone tells you to relocate is so difficult. You're going to have to prove this and you're going to have to prove that. And you're spending all this money. I mean, I'm sure you know, lawyer fees are not cheap.
Hello.
So, you know, many times I was ready to give up and throw in the towel, but I just kept saying, nah, I know he's got me. There's a reason.
Right.
So yeah. And now we're here.
And it happened at the right time.
It did.
It happened at the right time.
sure
And I
did.
think that's one thing that we lose sight of when we're going through stuff. We feel as though we want it to happen when it's our timing, but it wasn't ready. You wasn't ready.
Nope.
And it wouldn't have worked out the way it worked out now if it had been you would have got here when you wanted to, not when you should have. So, yeah, just always remember that. And
Absolutely.
anything you go through, always remember that.
Absolutely.
But tell me about this the divorce. I mean, because I've been through a crazy divorce.
Sure.
Similar situation. Like I had to get permission. I hate using that word permission, but it's really that's what it is.
Yeah.
They got to be in agreement into moving. I had to get the same thing essentially to come here to Georgia.
Right.
But tell me that process for you. How was that?
It was really draining. It was
Okay.
draining emotionally, mentally.
How long were you two married?
We were together, so we married legally in 2014.
Okay.
And then we had a big wedding in 2016, and I had my daughter in August of 2017, and we separated when she was about 3 months old.
Okay.
It was a really tumultuous, toxic marriage. I always say when I look back on it, people are like, "Oh, what was were there any red flags?" I'm like, there was red flags from day one, but you keep thinking to yourself, they're gonna change.
Right,
They're gonna, one of the things I feel like, I'm a very loyal, honest person, and when I'm with someone, that's how I am.
Yeah.
And I guess I kept thinking to myself, oh, eventually he's gonna see how blessed he is.
We overlook the red
Right.
flags for the potential of what they could be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so funny you say that because my therapist said to me, the problem with you is that you fall in love with the potential of who they can be, and you're not falling in love with who they are right now.
Right.
Because you keep hoping they'll change, and you keep hoping that they're gonna realize how lucky they are and what you bring to the table. But unfortunately, people sometimes just aren't in that space, and so it just got to a point where the emotional abuse, the mental abuse, everything was just crumbling, and I was just going down this deep, dark hole. And I think after time, when people tell you, or someone that you love constantly tells you, you're not good enough. I could have women that look 10 million times better than you, and you need to go to the gym. You start to believe it yourself, right?
Let's sit in that really quickly. So at what point, or did you even recognize or realize that moment when you were losing yourself?
Yeah. I think when I had my daughter.
Okay.
I'll never forget that day that I had her. She was actually preemie. She was 29 weeks, 3 pounds.
Oh.
She's a tiny little thing.
Oh.
And the doctors ran all the tests to see why it was that she came early.
Yeah.
And there was nothing. She was perfectly healthy otherwise. She just had to grow. And one of the doctors sat with me, and I guess she had seen the interaction between him and I.
In the office.
In the hospital. In the hospital.
Because the hospital. So it was that obvious?
Yeah,
or
was it was.
Okay.
Quick story, even when I went to go get my epidural, and the doctor said, okay, if you're going to do it, it's got to be right now. And I said, okay. And he's like, no, she doesn't need that. And the doctor, everyone kind of looked around like, wait, what?
Okay.
And he said, she's tiny. You're not even going to feel it. You don't need that. That's going to do damage. And everyone kind of just felt like, wait, what? No.
What's going on here?
And so I'll never forget, the doctor came in one day when I was by myself, because I was actually hospitalized after I had her because I had an infection.
Okay.
And she said, you really need to think about what you're bringing your daughter home to.
Okay.
She said, because that little girl didn't come because she was sick. It was the stress. It was the depression, everything that you were going through right now. She felt it, and that's why she's here now. So you need to think about that. And that was like my aha moment. Like, she's right. I don't want her to grow up thinking that this is love.
Yeah.
That someone cheats on them left and right. And again, the mental, emotional abuse was okay. I didn't want her to think that was okay, because I didn't even grow up around that. I have an amazing dad and amazing men in my life. So I didn't want her to think that was okay.
Right.
And so that was my aha moment, was when I had her.
Nice. So finding that aha moment, and with, and normally we don't talk about current events on the show because we know no one's really going to air.
Right.
But because this is a hot topic right now with the Diddy and Cassie situation and everything rolling out, and just the backlash that she's getting, and just having the courage to do something. What was that like for you, having the courage to say, I am done, I've had enough? Like, what was that like for you?
It was tough. It was tough to get to that point, right? Because and it's the weirdest thing, because people are very quick to say, oh, if I was in that position, I would leave like this.
Yeah.
I would never put up with that.
Right.
It's very easy to say that when you're not in that position.
in it, exactly.
Because I used to do it.
Exactly.
I used to do it, Tammy. I used to see women that went through something
I
like,
would
girl,
never be her. That could never be me.
That could never be me,
Right.
Until
it is us.
Until it is
us.
And I was raised, my mom is one of the strongest women I know. Like, my mom is the type of woman.
Shout out to mama.
That's
Shout
right.
out to mama.
And she does not put up with anything. And like, the second you do her wrong as a man, all right, I'm done. Like, she doesn't take second no. And so even with her, it was even hard for us, and we're very close, because she would see me and she just couldn't understand, why don't you leave? Why can't you be, and she only knew what we say in Spanish, por arribita, the very tippy-top. She didn't know how deep
what
it
that
was.
mean?
It means,
you know I like this language. What does it mean?
But arribita means like you just know what's going on the surface.
Okay.
You don't know the deep. And no one did, Tammy, because I was so good at hiding it. I was so good. You know, social media is fake. Everyone, when we divorced, what? Oh, you look so happy. You look
because they only saw what you put out there, what you presented, right?
What I put out there,
right.
And so, and even my family, like I said, I'm so close to my family. Even they only saw what I put out there, and so it was difficult to say. You know, I'm a product of divorced parents, and again, they had their ups and downs, but both my parents have been very involved in my life, and I've been very blessed. But you know, I didn't want Kaia, my daughter, to have that. I wished we could have made it work. I wish we could have been a family. I wish we could have, you know, and I even thought when I got pregnant, okay, he's going to realize.
He's going to change. He's going to change. And you know, that is why a lot of us women stick through all the BS. Just that whole family perspective or what we think a family should look like at that time. That's why a lot of women put up with a lot of BS.
100%.
And is it right? No. Because family, like you said, you came here and now you got friends that are family.
Yep.
You know, family, their blood doesn't make you related.
Agreed.
The length of time you know someone doesn't make you related. So yeah, I think that's a big key part in it. We all want our child's father to be that family, but it doesn't excuse a lot. And I'm glad you were able to, you know, find your voice and to climb out of that situation.
Absolutely.
So how have that affected, because of course your daughter was so young.
So young.
How has that affected, I guess, her or your relationship with her during that whole process? Did she see or does she remember the nights mommy sat up crying or the nights mommy wasn't mommy? Like, does she remember any of that?
She does. You know, it's very important to me that I don't speak badly of her father.
Right.
It's very important to me that my family doesn't speak badly of her father.
And that's maturity. I love that.
I you know, that's how we were raised too. As I said, my parents divorced when I was 7 years old, and they made it very clear to everyone, you do not speak badly of their father or their mother and whatever, because what him and I went through is different to, hopefully, you know, what his relationship with his daughter is going to be.
Right. Right.
And so whatever was going on, I tried my best for her never to feel it. But kids feel everything, right?
Absolutely.
They know mommy and daddy are fighting. They feel the tension. They feel the animosity. I always say that there's, and I guess every mom says how special their kids are, but I always feel like mine, she has this spirituality about her, this connection with God, she's very emotional. She's a very emotional little girl. So, you know, there were times where she was like, Mom, why do you and Papi hate each other? How come you and Papi can't be friends?
I bet that would have crushed me inside, girl.
And it really did, Tammy, because even though she didn't know what was going on the back end, I really did try with him to talk respectfully to him and, you know, keep it as sweet and as possible, because she was around, even when she wasn't around, because I always wanted to at least try and have a good co-parenting with him.
Right.
But it was very difficult at the beginning, I mean, until recently, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. There was a lot of grudge holding. There was a lot of hate. Even when I left, at one point, I had an injunction against him. You know, it got really ugly, you know, and it broke my heart that it got to that point, because I always say at one point we did love each other.
We were friends. We were best friends. We were in love. We were in bliss. What happened?
Right.
What happened?
Right.
And that's not your fault.
Yeah.
It is not your fault. So don't ever feel that because it didn't work out the way we expected it, that it was anything that was on you. No. I think that sometimes we go through things, not even sometimes, but all the time. We go through things, we go through these experiences to build up who we're supposed to be.
Sure. And
to prepare us for what's to come. Not saying another situation that way, but even in business, right? At Cubanos ATL, you're the catering manager. Do you understand what levels or how many doors that can open up for you, you know? And how many people you'll have to encounter, how many personalities you'll have to deal with, or even in a situation to where you didn't know this guy, and I'm not talking bad about your partner at the restaurant, but you didn't know him coming. he could have turned out to be a complete monster.
Yeah.
But you've been through certain situations, so you already know, okay, I'm not going down this road again.
Yes.
This is just a test. I'm going to stay far away. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we go through things, and I hate to say it, I embrace the down parts of life.
100%.
I embrace the obstacles. I embrace it now because they're all lessons.
Yes.
They're all lessons. Even though it's hard, girl, it's okay to cry. You gotta
Yeah.
cry. If you gotta call me, get some wine. I'll listen. But I'm also going to help uplift and build you back up because it is a test and every storm don't last forever.
Agreed.
Clearly not, because you're here looking beautiful with the
thank you.
smile,
Thank
and you're
you.
in Atlanta now. So tell us about this catering, being the catering manager for the restaurant. How was that?
Yeah, it's been challenging to say the least,
Okay.
just because you know, we weren't really known for our catering. So when Ozzy brought me on, it was really to focus on just that.
Right.
But in that process, there were a lot of changes going on at Cubanos ATL. And so I felt like it got to a point where I was kind of wearing a lot of different hats, and I
Okay.
couldn't really focus on that
Okay.
as much as I would like to. But, you know, I've loved every second of it because the flexibility that I have as a single mom,
Let's talk about it. Let's talk
you
about
know,
it.
I'm not going to find that anywhere else.
Right.
He totally understood, listen, I have to get Kaia on the bus. I have to be there when she gets off. Sometimes I might have to bring her into the restaurant. And, you know, the funny thing is she loves going to the restaurant because she refills.
Oh, she's going to run that restaurant, honey.
Girl,
She's going
I'm
to
like,
run it.
Kaia, sometimes I'll say, Kaia, come say hi. No, Mom, I have to go get the sandwiches.
Yes,
Okay,
Kaia. Go ahead,
go
Kaia.
ahead.
Look,
You
little
know?
boss mom in the making. Go
Exactly.
ahead, Kaia.
So, and I think you'll agree with me as a mom, that's priceless. You
Girl,
cannot
yes.
put a price on that.
We
you know?
schedule our schedules around the children.
Yep.
Like if it's not good with them, if I can't be a mom, then it's not gonna work out.
Exactly.
It is not gonna work out, and this is why I'm so proud when a woman finds her space where they're not confined or restricted by time on their place of employment.
Yep.
I encourage to have a side hustle, whatever it is. If you can have that flexibility on your job, do something like. If you're not happy in your situation, and yes, this is just a message for those boss moms out there. If you're not happy in your work situation, there are so many things that you can do. You just have to start.
Yeah.
You have to start, and it'll get there, because being available for your children, it is priceless.
It sure
It
is.
is priceless.
It sure is. That's one of the things that, you know, when I did take on the job,
Yeah.
I really had to think about it because, you know, where I was before, I was making more money. I was
Yeah.
this, I wanna, but then when I thought about that flexibility, when I thought about him being so understanding, he's not a micromanager. He's not on top. He trusts that we have that trust already, where
Right.
he knows if I'm working from home, I'm doing what I have to do. If I'm
Right.
doing, you know, and that's so important.
Absolutely.
That's so important. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you found this space.
Me
I'm
too.
glad you found this space. Did you ever think that you would be here?
no.
Really?
I mean, and I'll never forget. So it took a year and a half for us to go to court, right? And so the day before we were supposed to go to court, we settled on an agreement.
Okay. You and
And
him came to that agreement.
We did. Well, you know,
Nice.
between our attorneys.
Yeah.
It was a very costly agreement, but we got there. And I'll never forget my mom, who, as I said, I'm very close to. My mom is my best friend. I mean, I'll never forget, she supported me the whole time me going. And then the day that we're coming to an agreement, she goes, I don't know why you're going to go to Georgia. You're just going to get up and go. You have no family there. You don't know anyone. You're going to take Kaia away from everything she knows. And she just kind of threw that on me. And I'm like,
Like, don't do this to me now.
I know.
My mind is made up. Don't do this.
I'm like, we're so close, and now you're gonna tell me this, and I remember that was really tough for me, Tammy,
Yeah.
because she's always been my number one cheerleader.
Has she been here to visit though?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, she loves
I'm
it.
about to say, it's not that far. Florida and Georgia is like
and
right
Spirit
there.
is $50 round trip. She does it all the time. She's, let me tell you, and she loves it, and I'll never forget because when I moved up. You know, the family that I moved in with, what we did was we rented a little 1 bedroom, 1 bath basement. They converted into an apartment.
Okay.
And again, back to God's timing, right?
Right.
And him doing everything for a reason. I'll never forget, right before my court hearing, my attorney says, you have to find an apartment, you have to find an address that's just gonna help us win our case.
Yeah,
And-
because you have to submit that you have a stable place for
Exactly.
her. Right.
Exactly. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I don't want to buy something, and I sure as hell don't want to write a lease for something because I don't know if I'm going to win or not.
Right. Right.
So someone said, well, get on Airbnb, get a furnished place and whatnot. It's okay. So the very first family that I reached out to, on Airbnb in Alpharetta. Again, they converted their basement into an apartment. And John Smith, who I'm going to say his name because they're, again, family for me.
Angel in disguise. Shout out to John Smith.
Yes, and Tanya. They
yes.
absolutely, I explained to them my situation. Well, first of all, he went to UM. She grew up in Miami. I said, oh, look at that.
So look at the connection. See?
Look at the connection. See? And so I explained to him my situation. And I said, if you can't wait for me or if you need to rent your place out, you know, I totally understand. He said, you do what you got to do and you call me and let me know when you're coming.
Wonderful.
And I said, okay. And sure enough, I called them the day we came to the agreement. I said, I'll be there in a week. Okay, perfect. And Mom came up with me. And when we walked into that home, Tammy, it just felt welcoming and you just felt love.
Like your new beginning. Like, this is it. This
everything.
Is that. Yeah.
Everything. And so I'll never forget, my mom was here for a week. And when I get to the airport and bye, Mom, bye. Okay, love you. See you next month. Not a tear was shed. And I called her. I said, girl, you going to miss me? Because you were quick to leave.
She was just probably like content that, okay, this is not a bad move. Like, she was probably nervous, like, my baby's going up. Even though you were grown, you're still her baby. My baby's going up to Georgia. I don't know what to expect. I think that probably comped a lot of her anxiety of you coming, especially with her grandbaby. You know, they don't play about the grandbaby.
100%.
So I think that, that God's timing.
Yes.
It would have never played out if you would have rushed it. It would have never played out if it would have happened any other time or when you wanted to. And up until that time, you probably was nothing but worry.
Absolutely.
And look how things just fell into place.
Yeah.
When I talked
to her, I asked her, I said, you know, you didn't even require anything. She said, Tatiana, I felt such an overwhelming sense of peace when we were with the Smiths that I know you're going to be fine. I know you're going to be okay. And I said,
I love that.
You know,
I love that for you.
I do. I mean, and now, again, Kaia stays with them all the time. That's her family. That's our family. You know, we've been, so my mom's going with them on a cruise in August to Europe.
Yes, Mama.
Like, that's just, and that's what we've become. And so that's why I say God knew I was coming up here with no family, with no one to trust Kaia with. And now I have it all.
He gave you your family.
Yep.
So what's next for you? What's next? What's coming down the line for Miss Tatiana?
So what's next for me is I'm actually, I don't know yet. I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, I just kind of live day by day.
So wait, let me ask you this question. Are you dating again?
I am.
You are?
Okay. All right. What do you mean dating?
I don't mean, I'm not telling you to say his name now. I'm just
No. I mean, I'm not in a relationship.
Okay.
I've put myself.
But you're open to dating and to meeting people.
100%.
And marriage hasn't, that marriage didn't tarnish your perception of marriage.
Absolutely not. I'm a hopeless romantic.
Okay.
And no, that definitely didn't tarnish that. And I am open to it. I've dated, you know, left and right, but I just haven't met the one that's for me now. Hopefully he comes soon because I'm tired of doing it alone. Lord, but you know, but I'm definitely open to it for sure.
Okay, awesome. Because that's a new space for you too, as a single mom and jumping into the dating. You know, we are skeptical about a lot when and you an Atlanta girl. You're not in Atlanta, but you're an girl. So it is. There is sort of. You know, a protection you want to put around yourself and around your child of who you're bringing around you. But again, your experiences, your past experiences is going to help you really be cautious and hopefully not ignore any of those red flags again. I mean, because it's one thing to go through it with the father of your child, and it's another thing to go through it with someone who is not the father of your child. Like, you don't want to revisit and reopen wounds for her either. So listen, I'm glad it did not tarnish anything with marriage, because I'm all for the family. I'm all for marriage 100%. And I'm all for a mama being happy, and we know what makes mama happy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we had this little chat on our couch.
Me too. It's been awesome.
Yes, and I have to come to Cubanos ATL. Where is it located?
So we have a location in Sandy Springs. We have our tiny house in Sandy Springs.
Okay.
Which is literally a tiny house. But if you go to downtown Roswell, we have a brick and mortar where we have a patio. We do salsa lessons. We do domino nights. We have liquor.
Nice. Oh, me and Sue got to make a date of that.
You have to.
We gotta come. Do y'all host events?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, we absolutely do. We host.
Nice.
We're open to using it as a venue. You know,
okay,
absolutely.
we are going to talk. We are going to talk. And
Please.
it's the reason why we didn't book, because we have an event coming up. It's the reason why we didn't book yet, and I don't know what that reason was. And maybe I like that salsa dancing. Yeah, we're going to think on that.
Good.
We are going to think on that. Well, that concludes this episode, and I wish we had a little bit more time to talk to you. I really enjoyed you sharing your story, some insight, and just to know, just for the boss moms out there watching and just hearing this story, it is possible. It is possible. Do you have anything you would like to say to a woman that may be still stuck in a situation that they are in an abusive situation, mentally, physically, emotionally? What would you say to that woman?
I would say just have faith in God. You know, pray a lot. You're stronger than you think you are. You're not whoever that person has put in your head that you are. Lean on family, lean on friends. Trust them when they tell you, you know, I'm seeing that you're losing. I had a friend tell me, Tati, you've lost that spark. You've lost that spark. I don't even see you like sparkle anymore, you know, and trust that. Trust your intuition. Know that there's other women who have gone through it, who are willing to help. You know, one of the things someone told me, even after the divorce, you and her dad will get to a point where you'll be able to get along and you'll be able to co-parent. And I used to say, you're crazy. That's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen. But I prayed on it, and now him and I have a great relationship.
Wonderful.
So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything is possible with God and when you believe in. And once you trust that and know yourself and actually learn from it, anything. Okay. You were saying that completes another episode. Thank you. Thank you. And that completes another episode of the Boss Mom Huddle. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell another boss mom. Tell another auntie, another TT. Y'all call them TTs down here in the South. But just share this, especially for the women who you know this community is for. We are bringing so many women to this couch to share their stories. You will have someone you can relate to. Just share the word. That's all I ask if you support the huddle. Until next time, moms, huddle up.